My life has never been the same since I started talking about Blue Hedgehog that destroys fat people to get the Dragon Balls to go Super Saiyan and destroys the evil bad guy at the end. But you know what? Here we are. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy TheGamingTrouge here. And the last time I talked about Sonic anything, it kind of just ended up destroying my credibility. So now I had to basically hide out in this room right here to make sure that there's no shenanigans this time. The Goku and Sonic fans already teamed up to destroy my last place before. So now I'm just stuck over here trying to do my best in order to go and just share my opinions with you about Sonic games. So let's start off the rankings of the best mainline Sonic games. So I know I started making the script before Sonic Superstars got announced, so I apologize about me not bringing up Sonic Superstars. It looks like an amazing game. It looks like the new Super Mario Bros. Reapproach to Sonic games. Okay, bye. So I've talked about Sonic a good handful of times here on this channel, from the good to the ugly. So why not put up a giant ranking of all my favorite Sonic games, from my least favorite to the ones I definitely would play over and over and over again. But just a couple things before we get started. For one thing, that I'm not going to be talking about Sonic Forntiers in this video, because I still haven't beaten the game yet. But I can't say it's my favorite open world video game ever. Yes, outbeating Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for that matter. And two, these are going to be all the mainline home console Sonic games. These aren't going to be any type of mobile games or handheld games or spin-off games. And lastly, I'm going to be ranking them on this ranking as you see right here. And we're going to start from bottom to top. Starting off with the bad tier, which is the type of games I won't let my unborn son play, because you know what? It will mess up his entire school life. And let's start off with a game that wasn't where he's even supposed to exist in the first place. Sonic and the Secret Rings is a disaster of a game, and I arguably think it's worse than what most consider to be the actual worst game. We'll get there. Because of the engine the Sonic team was using, basically they had to force employees to work on a completely other project of Sonic the Hedgehog, and the only thing I can really compliment about this game is its music. And its multiplayer is actually one of the best parts about the game. But besides that, it's basically just a watered down version of Temple Run with some Sonic flair that doesn't really work that well on console. And with it being the first storybook game in the series, one of two games, you can obviously tell that this game did not satisfy everyone. Why give a character that in its original game had more character than he does in his actual game? Out of every single Sega game that released on the Nintendo GameCube, this is the ugliest game I've ever seen on the planet. It's all browns and grays, and Sao has gun combat now, which is completely out of place for Sonic, but I can't get down with it, and it does look pretty cool in concept, but in gameplay, it just feels off. Story-wise, this is one of the worst portrayals of Shao I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It's definitely character butchering at its finest. Basically taking out all the personality, all the care that was in Sonic Adventure and Sonic Heroes, and trying to make him a Dante knockoff. And with the dark nature of this game, the other Sonic characters kind of come off as a sore thumb in a candy shop. The worst part about this game is that in the advertising, basically it tells you be a hero, be a villain, it's your destiny, it's your choice. Ha, psych, here's a final story that basically retcons any of the endings that you got. Thanks, Sega. Hey, a Wii U exclusive Sonic game, huh? That came to Steam. Sonic Colors basically set the groundwork for the next decade of Sonic the Hedgehog content, and that was for the better and for the worse. This game is in a weird position, considering I played the Steam version of the game, and it just feels weird. Like I'm playing a WOMD version of this game and not actually the official release of Sonic Lost World. The controller is one thing, but the other way is it just feels like a 2D platformer with Sonic in it. It doesn't even feel like a Sonic the Hedgehog game, rather than just like a generic platformer that has Sonic characters in it. But I can't say that this game's story is not the worst thing that's on these list of games. It's the classic good guy, bad guy team up to stop a bad guy, but then it turns out that the bad guy is still bad. And I don't know if it's just me, but the Deadly Six just feels like they belong in a different game altogether. I will just say this is the best, worst 3D Sonic game. Now I know I'm definitely going to get hate for this. The classic Sonic the Hedgehog is still an okay video game, but holy cow, the original Sega Genesis version is hot garbage. And the fact that Sega keeps re-releasing the same game over and over again just to try to fix this one version of Sonic the Hedgehog is mesmerizing. How many versions of Sonic 1 are there? There's a lot of them, but one of the main reasons why I'm putting it at the top of the bad tier list is because the original OG Sega Sega Genesis version is not really my favorite 2D Sonic game. It's definitely good and it does have good moments, but play this right now in 2023 and tell me that this is still a good video game. Oh boy, after destroying my credibility, we now made it to the okay tier. These are the games that I find to be okay experience. Nothing bad, but just nothing too great. Sonic Mania is not the greatest game known to mankind. Now, let's not get it twisted. I still think this game is amazing, but I think that a lot of people overhyped the heck out of this game, and then when Sonic Forces came out, a lot of people decided to crap on the game and not give it a fair shot. And I do feel like they tried to use the nostalgia card way too much times in this game in comparison to other Sonic anniversary titles like Sonic Adventure 2, as well as Sonic Generations. But I'll be a jerk if I refuse to acknowledge the fact that this was the first big project with Christian Whitehead and Headcanon Studios. Their entire stick is the fact that they make Sonic games with this type of style, so I get it, but at the same time, they could have done a lot more original stuff in this style. But as it is right now, I think it's an okay game, and I definitely think it's one that you guys should definitely try out if you haven't already. From one classic Sonic game to another classic Sonic game, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is definitely an odd one when it comes down to the whole classic Sonic game library, because it was split into 2 games originally, but I consider them both all one game, so that's just the way I'm going to be breaking them in this video. With this game having 3 playable characters, with that being Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, alongside having somewhat of a story in the 2D platformer no less, which is basically non-existent, with this game having a fantastic music that Michael Jackson may or may not have written, sign me up! However, this is one of the more longer Sonic the Hedgehog games, and thank goodness this game has a save feature. If you want an amazing 2D platformer, I do highly recommend Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but not before Sonic the Hedgehog 2 by a long shot. This was my very first ever Sonic the Hedgehog game. I have a lot of nostalgia with this game, and I still enjoy it from time to time, and I feel like this game definitely has aged the best out of the classic trilogy. But still, the original classic, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, is still a classic by a long shot, and I hear so many people got into the series through Sonic the Hedgehog 2, not even talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 1, so I might not be too out of left field here. I really love this game. Out of every one of the classic Sonic the Hedgehog games, this is the one that I find myself replaying the most. Sonic CD is a weird game because for a while I didn't even know it existed until a family friend of ours actually played it on the iPad when the Christian Whitehead version came out, and then a year later I actually ended up getting it on the Xbox 360 and absolutely enjoying it a little bit more than Sonic the Hedgehog 2, believe it or not. First off, this opening is really fun and definitely gets you pumped up for the adventure ahead, and I definitely appreciate it. The gameplay feels like a nice mix between Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and 3, and it just feels like a fun game to pop in and play every now and then. Also, first game with Amy and Melasonic, and that gets points in my book. Similar to Sonic CD, Sonic Heroes is a game that I heard so much about growing up, but it was a Sonic game that I never actually got to play until very recently. And overall, I think it's an okay game. I don't think there's anything too bad with it. The team mechanic is pretty fun, the level design is pretty fun, the music is phenomenal like every other good Sonic game. Honestly, this is going to sound way corny, but I feel like this is a good game. If you're ever feeling sad or just down on your luck, just playing this game just brings a big old smile to your face. This one also gets overhyped so much, but in actuality, I always find myself having a good time whenever I play Sonic Colors. Like the last game, this is a perfect example of a good sit down and play game that just clicks all the boxes, and it's definitely one of the best Wii games out there. Now, it's not one of the best Sonic games out there, but if you're looking to collect for your Nintendo Wii, this game is definitely a blast to go through. I did hear some horror stories about the Wii Master, but I did hear that they did patch them out, so now it's a good experience. Oh gosh, oh frick, oh my gosh, oh no. Often considered to be one of the worst rated games ever made, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 to me is honestly not that bad. It's definitely far from flawless, and I'm not saying it's a perfect hidden gem or anything like that, but it's a game that I feel like I respect now than I did ever back when I was a child. With this being a reboot of sorts, I honestly believe that if we just take everything out of the equation with the past Sonic games and just talk about this game in particular, I feel like this story had a lot of potential. They did give us interesting characters like Silver the Hedgehog and Mephiles the Dark, but unfortunately I feel like they haven't been written to their fullest potential, especially Mephiles. And I will die on this hill by saying Shadow's story in this game is the best Shadow story we gotten in a long time. Silver is a close second, and unfortunately the name of the game's character isn't even the best story in this game. Glitches were everywhere with this game, but to be completely honest, I don't really mind the glitches all too much. It's kind of like Skyrim in a way. Well, that game has so many glitches that most people just find as like legitimate speedrun tricks. I couldn't think of a better game to put at the top of the OK tier list. It's far from the greatest game or like even a hidden gem, but I think that if you ever get around to playing Sonic 06, you're going to have a good time, and there's definitely better versions of playing it now that fixes a lot of the problems that other people had. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it now to the great tier. These are games that are just so delicious! Sonic Generations is honestly kind of how you do an anniversary game right. Basically, throwing as much fan service and just overall nostalgia into one game without over-relying on nostalgia. Like, it's still a super fun game and it's not pandering in any sort of way. Similar to Colors, this game is just a good feel-good game, and that goes doubly with its story as well. The story of this game is basically non-existent, but it's still a fun one for an anniversary title. Honestly, this game is just a straight banger. Oh honey, I'm home. Sonic Adventure is just so good! Multiple different characters, an amazing gameplay loop, fantastic story that's honestly a little bit darker than a lot of the other Sonic games on this list, and a fantastic soundtrack. This is probably one of my favorite games on the Sega Dreamcast. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally made it to... the best tier of all the Sonic games right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best of the best of the best in the games I will replay over and over and over again. Yes, I know I'm breaking my own rules, but I don't even care. I want to talk more about Sonic Forntiers because holy cow, this game is amazing. Like I said at the start of the video, this is one of my favorite open world video games, and it's something that's completely different from the modern day Zeldas or any other type of open world-esque game. I won't go into story or anything else, but I will say it's only at number 5 because I still haven't beaten the game yet. I can't give a definitive answer, but I can't say it deserves a spot on the best tier regardless. Yep, no one will have a problem with this video at all. The more I think about it, the more I just come to love Sonic Forces more and more. There are some problems with the game that obviously I can point out and obviously agree with a lot of people with, but some of the stuff I just flat out don't really agree with. I'm sorry. Like, classic Sonic does not need to be in this game at all, and honestly made me sour the character more and more. This boss fight made me want to yeet out the console I was playing this on out the window. And I wish they could have elaborated more on some of the darker elements of this game a little bit more so, but what we got here is actually a really good story, all things considered. And the fact that you can make whatever fan character you had dreamed of for the past 10 years, make it a reality in an actual Sonic game, this was huge, and I love this aspect of this game. Regardless of the 2D sections and some boss fights, I honestly really do enjoy playing this game, and I've beaten it multiple times just on my breaks. Like every other Sonic game, the soundtrack is also amazing. Visually, it's beautiful, and I think that you guys should give this game a second chance if you guys haven't played it since 2017. It's crazy to me how the sequel to one of the worst Sonic games ever released is actually in my top 3 Sonic games. Sonic the Black Knight does the unthinkable and actually makes a Sonic game on rails not feel like a bad Temple Run knockoff. The Sonic story is all about living life to the fullest in the time we have. As someone who is really scared of the inevitable future for most of those lives, this game makes me realize, hey, just live in the moment and live for the now. The combat in this game feels exhilarating. It feels fast and frantic as you swing Caliburn to go and destroy evil monsters. And with the addition of multiple characters and a second campaign after you beat the main story, this game game is just so good. I love this game so much. If you're not really convinced that this video is going to cause controversy in any sort of way, this one is probably going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back for a lot of people. Because I love Sonic Unleashed, but not the version everyone else played. The Nintendo Wii version is honestly my favorite version of Sonic Unleashed, but no matter what version you play, this game is still amazing. The rail-hard gameplay is amazing, and it's definitely like the Legend of Zelda of Sonic games, and I definitely am here for it. But Daytime Sonic, Normal Sonic, whatever you want to call it, is just so satisfying to play through all these levels. And with the beautiful music and even beautiful visuals for the Wii standards, this is a beautiful game, and it's just a great game to play. The story is just crazy fun. Just a crazy fun road trip of two friends trying to stop an evil bad guy from destroying the world, and I really do love Chip as a character. Most people found him annoying, but I found him very precious and very lovable. Also, why is there so much food in this game? This isn't Final Fantasy 15? I feel like most of you guys saw this coming. This is my favorite video game of all time, next to Kingdom Hearts 3, next to Super Smash Bros. Melee. This game is one of my favorite video game experiences I ever had. Super fun gameplay, super deep story for 2001 standards for a platformer. This game is crazy good. Before Forntiers came in and shaked up the game, this was the best controlling Sonic game ever, and I still feel like it is one of the best controlling video games ever. And hey, if you're getting sick of the game and if you have it on PC, mods are everywhere, ranging from randomizers to people putting their own VTuber models even in the game. That is just so crazy. This game is my favorite video game of all time. There's no denying that. Everything I love about Sonic is in this game and accounted for, and I just recommend everyone try it, either on the original Sega Dreamcast version, the PC version, heck, any version of the game. Please go play this game. It's amazing. And that does it for my ranking. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just all my opinion, like I said multiple times in this video. If you guys want to show you guys' opinions, feel free to do so. But for now, I gotta prepare for the next Goku and Sonic attack, because I know the fans are going to be angry at me. Special thanks to Cat Chat for sponsoring me on Patreon. If you guys want to support me on Patreon, link is in the description down below.